Hello, and welcome to today's daily edition of NAC News. My name is Caroline Falvey, and I will be your host for tonight. Tonight's segment will discuss the truth about the American Revolution. Here's Nikki with the nightly traffic report.
There was a brutal horse and person crash in which a colonist on a horse ran over a British soldier. The colonist refuses to pay tax on the damages, initiating the rebellion of the colonists. According to the Royal Police Report, quoted from the King, all our officers, civil and military, are obliged to exert their utmost endeavors to suppress the colony's rebellion and to bring the traitors to justice, and all our subjects are bound by law to disclose and make known all traitorous conspiracies and attempts against us, our crown and our dignity, unquoteth.
The Collision and Declaration of Rebellion has said to have commenced a revolution provoked by the British. And next to Cooking with GW with my friend George.
Hello and welcome to Cooking with GW. I'm George, and tonight we'll be preparing a revolutionary dish. First, take this large pot and fill it with water. Then, put it on the stove and bring it to a boil. Place snowballs, chunks of ice, oyster shells, and stones for mixing to create the Boston Massacre. According to experienced chef Samuel Adams, this dish is a bloody butchery, and sous chef Paul Revere portrayed this scene as a slaughter of the innocent. Place the Boston Massacre in a dish and start to prepare the Boston Tea Party. Tea is more expensive these days due to taxation. Add in a little of country pride and determination to fight for rights and rebel taxation to the Tea Party. Shoemaker George Hughes adds in, the townspeople were crying out, let every man do his duty and be true to his country. And there's a general huzzah for Griffin's Wharf. As the mixing commences for the Boston Tea Party and the Boston Massacre, sprinkle some Sugar Act, which includes a multitude of selfishness for the king and the wealth of Great Britain. According to the Sugar Act, it is expedient that provisions and regulations should be established to improve revenue of this kingdom. Lastly, add a pinch of the Stamp Act. According to a protester, the colonists have spoken their sentiments with freedom against this unhappy act, and that freedom has become their crime. Once the Boston Massacre, Boston Tea Party, Sugar Act, and Stamp Act have all been prepared, mix all of these together. Then, add a tablespoon of the Proclamation Act, which prevents the colonists from expanding. A cup of Albany Conference, which triggers thoughts of a united nation for the colonists. And a sprinkle of a lack of civil rights. Now, put it in the oven, baking at 450 for an hour to create a war.
Thank you, George Washington. Save me some of that for after. And now Nikki Trupiano, on the streets with the point of no return, interviewing eyewitness Samuel Adams, recalling the first shots at Lexington and Concord.
Now, welcoming to the stage, Mr. Samuel Adams.
Welcome, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
What was your reaction of the shots fired at Lexington and Concord?
What a glorious morning this is.
What do you mean by this, sir?
For America, this is the point of no return that will grant us freedom. You can take back words, but you cannot take back violence. This is a glorious day because this is the day our freedom begins. This is the point from which we cannot turn back.
Thank you for being with us today, sir.
It was my pleasure. That concludes our segment for the night. Thanks for watching. Hello, and welcome to today's daily edition of NAC News. My name is Caroline Falvey, and I will be your host. Tonight's segment will reflect on the American Revolution. And now to a live broadcast of General George Washington addressing the armies of the United States on this day, November 3rd, 1783.
The unparalleled perseverance of the armies of the U States through almost every possible suffering and discouragement for the space of 8 long years was little short of a standing miracle.
Although it was a miracle for the colonists to be victorious over the British, it led to destruction and chaos for both countries, ultimately leading to the American Revolution's failure. Loyalists started violent raids in New York and New Jersey. Soldiers were involved in brutal, bloody quarrels within the colonies. Under the Articles of Confederation after the war, quote, "The taxes for paying that proportion shall be laid and levied by the authority and direction of the legislatures of the several states within time agreed upon by the United States in Congress assembled." Unquote. Without the power to tax, the new American government was in a financial crisis. Britain was in great debt after fighting the war, which caused taxes to increase. Trade plummeted because of the large drops in imports and exports, and the naval attacks on British ships captured thousands of their merchant ships. Also, tensions between Ireland and Britain mounted because Ireland opposed British rule and tried to follow in the footsteps of the colonists by rebelling. Another result of the Revolution was the destruction and murders in London because of the Gordon riots. A mob took over the city, attacking Catholic churches and homes of Catholics during the riots. And now to Nikki with the Democracy weather forecast.
Weather patterns of democracy have changed drastically since the Puritan times. During the Puritan times, democracy was non-secular, with only white land-owning males having the right to vote. Many Puritans were persecuted for their religion. They had no civil rights, such as a fair trial, as in with the case with Anne Hutchinson. She was assumed guilty before proven innocent at the court in Newton in 1637. Laws were meant to guide the righteous and punish the wicked. As we have seen recently, after the Revolution, democracy has only changed slightly. After the war, colonists had the right to vote and gained other rights because the truths. To be self-evident that all men created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain undeniable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. After the war, the colonists gained religious freedom, freedom of speech, and many other natural rights.
That concludes our segment for the night. Thanks for watching.